Hey everyone, John Henry here from School of Trade. Today we're going to be taking a look at a trend failure here coming off the highs on crude oil. So the entry short's at 47.53, and essentially what we're looking at is this big buy trend that's been working all morning is getting very, very weak up here, right? If we go back a little ways and we just kind of tally up every time that we've broken higher, we had a beautiful break higher right there, and it followed up with some nice continued movement. And look at that spike higher. When they pulled back, buyers aggressively bought it back up again, and they broke higher. We broke higher again, nice aggressive moves. And then you'll notice one big common thing. Every time that we've broken out of these areas, we've had very big aggressive movement that has kind of backed that emphasis, right? We know the buyers are heavily in charge there because they're breaking out aggressively. This time around, though, this last huge spike higher, we really didn't have a whole lot of bullishness on that breakout, and when they tried again, they failed even harder. They tried getting that big bull candle breakout, but it immediately collapsed right back in on itself, and that's why we're looking to sell here. Now, I'm not looking to sell here for a huge move down. I'm looking at this thinking, well, the buyers probably are sick of buying all the way up here. They don't want to buy at the top. They want to buy a pullback. And a lot of times what that means is they're going to come back to an obvious area, and that obvious area usually comes in where the last big spike was, and that was back here. Now we also have an area of resistance support at 47.11, which makes it even easier to kind of gun for that location. But that's kind of what we're looking for right now. Nice little bull channel rising higher. Buyers are sick of buying at the highs, and we can see because of that weakening on the top. So chances are they're going to want to get a nice deep pullback to around that 47.11 area before you start seeing them come back into this trend. So an entry short at 47.53. Once that gets triggered in, I'm going to be looking down to 11, and I want to go ahead of that just a little bit. So we'll go to 14, and that's where I want to take my profit off. Now on the drive lower here, a couple areas that we need to be concerned about. The prior minor swings through here are going to be areas where buyers are going to start scaling in. Essentially, you're just buying a swing low because of such a strong trend to the upside. It's cheap, right? Generally speaking, it's going to be cheap. Now, if this kind of spikes through and maybe has a little bit of a hard time bouncing there, you may see it go a little bit farther, but this last big drive up is going to be the magnet, and that puts us right down at that 11 to 14 area. So the entry short's at 47.53. Once it gets triggered in, if we can get triggered in, then the stop is going to go above the high of this bear candle here, and we're looking for 47.14 as the final objective. Seeing the sellers pile drive this market to the downside here, I want to lock my stop in nice and tight. The last time the buyers tried coming in was right here, and they failed. Very, very weak body on that one, showing that the sellers essentially use that as an opportunity to sell it farther down. Now, the one interesting thing that we've been talking about, these prior areas of interest where buyers are likely going to come in. Look at the big wick on the bottom of that. Buyers are buying into that. Same with right here. We hit that low. Look at all of the wick that clustered around that area. That's primarily because buyers are using those levels to scale in. Now, in terms of what their upside objective is, it's going to be back towards the high a day at some point today, right? We're not expecting this market to turn around on a dime. And actually, with this strong of a drop lower, it's anticipated that it goes maybe one more attempt to the downside. So it wouldn't necessarily be a surprise to see this give one more turn to the downside here. But overall, everything's still looking nice and heavy to the downside. Buyers will be scaling in, but this is all I'm looking for is a nice little scalp to the downside. Well, I say a scalp, going on 40 ticks, but a move to the downside on basically just a correction. Buyers are sick of buying all the way up the highs, and they're going to wait for a nice deep pullback, and that's exactly what we're getting right now. So we're coming only a couple ticks away from the target here. We just need to see the sellers finish this move off and drive this market into our targets, and then we can start looking to potentially switch gears here right back to the upside. Pushing down one tick away from the target here. Let's see if they can finish the job. There we go. We get that little push down there, and they finish the job to the downside. So beautiful correction down here. Now, again, given how strong of a move down this is, there will be some sellers that think, wow, man, I missed a move here. I'm going to wait and sell the next time it comes back. And, that might cause enough selling pressure to get a drive lower, but you have to be cognizant of the fact that we are in an area of major buyer interest. So you do not want to be selling into this kind of level. You more so want to be buying into that kind of level. But either way, we're done with the setup. So beautiful move down. This is the correction that buyers will have been waiting for pretty much all day, ever since the European session. So it's likely that they're going to begin scaling in a little bit more aggressively down here. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to send an email to School of Trade. Don't forget to check out our trial at schooloftrade.com. And as always, we'll catch you next time.